Good morning, gang. So I got a question. Have you all thought this out? With everything that's going on right now, with, I don't know, inflation, gas prices, food prices, the Mexican border, hey, last night you had Boris Johnson resign as Prime Minister in Great Britain. God, if we could only have something similar here, but the scary part is we don't have the same government, so we'd have the cackling hen. But have you ever given any thought to what you are going to do? I mean, seriously, what you are going to do if economically, I'm not talking about war, I'm not talking about, uh, the Chinese storming over the hill, I'm not talking about liberals going crazier than they already are. I'm just talking about utter economic collapse. And I know, we talk about buying gold, buying silver, whatever it would be, and that's out for the long run. That's to come out the back end. I'm talking about what are you going to do during the economic collapse? I mean, what are you going to do if the United States turns into the Weimar Republic? If it turns into Venezuela? I mean, honestly, guys, if the U.S. does, the entire world does. Okay? And you certainly can't believe that the politicians are going to save us and get us out of it, because the politicians are the ones that put us here in the first place. All right? So what would you do? How are you going to get out of this? This is where we get back into the comments, the conversations on tribalism, on smaller government. Yeah, go figure where that one came from, all right? Where communities have to bond together to get anything done. I mean, yes, what are you going to do when you have a toothache and you need a tooth pulled? It's okay. Grab a piece of string and slam a door, I get. What are you going to do when you need to have surgery? Okay? I mean, let's not talk about major surgery or something like that. Let's not talk about having a hip replaced. Let's talk about somebody has appendicitis and you have to have your appendix out. It's very simple surgery. I don't know how to do it. I don't know anybody who does know how to do it. I'd have to find a doctor. Okay? So, these are the things. There's not going to be a hospital. Now, obviously, when the hospital closes, the doctors and the nurses don't turn in their scrubs and their brain at the same time. They still know what to do. But these are the challenges that we're going to face when things are not there. We talk about food, we talk about water, we talk about guns and security and everything like that. And that's all to protect yourself from a physical threat. You get into an economic threat where there isn't a business to go to. Okay? Most of us probably have at least a decent amount taken care of. If there is no more grocery store, there is no more Walgreens, there is no more Walmart. We're all right there. Okay. But I start talking about the other things. You can't get gasoline for your car. So do you have any alternative means of transportation? I mean, I'm not telling everybody to go buy a horse by any means, all right? But if you need to go somewhere, your other choice is to walk. And so that tells you how big your mag needs to be. You're not going to have, the guy's house that you can drive to in 10 minutes is great, but it might take you 3 hours to walk to it, right? You're not super helpful for him at that point. So, maybe a bicycle. I don't know, depending on what you're doing. The economic side of this is critical to think about, because there's a lot of services, if you will, that we completely take for granted, right? You know, medical is one of them. You know, we've talked about, well, gee, there's no more electricity, there's no more city water. What are you going to do? That's great, okay? But start thinking about, and again, I'll give everybody the same exercise to go through. Start thinking about all the things you do, all the places you go, the services you use, that if they weren't there, how would you solve the task? How would you think outside the box? It's real easy to call up your neighbor, call up your friend, call up your kids on the phone. What if there is no phone? Okay, there's something to think about. It's real easy to go in the kitchen and fire up the stove and cook something for dinner. What if there's no gas? What if there's no electricity to run that stove? Have you ever given thought, have you ever tried to see how long it takes to cook dinner? Try making a pot of coffee, okay? Just try to make a cup of coffee without electricity or gas, okay? If you've got one of those little percolator coffee pots, camping coffee pot, which at a minimum you should have, maybe you've got a French press or something like this. See how long it takes you to make a cup of coffee. You get up at 6 in the morning, you may not have that first cup of coffee till 7. It's not going to be there at 6:05. These are the things that people forget about. It's like when, excuse me, when everything goes to hell, you're not going to be sitting on your couch watching the show on the street in front of you. It's going to affect you too. You're more prepared for it, there's no doubt. Okay? But it's not like you're going to kick back, take your shoes off, put your feet up, turn on Netflix, grab yourself a cup of coffee and a donut and go, okay, let's watch a movie while everybody else is freaking out. No. You're going to be freaking out too. I'm as prepared as you are, I guarantee this. When everything goes crazy, you're going to freak out. Oh my God, what do we do? Because all of a sudden you're going to find all the holes you have in your preps real quick. And as much as we try to practice by shutting off the power or doing anything like that, sorry about the cough. As much as we try to practice for all this sort of stuff, it is not. You can never be ready for the real thing. All right, you have to get in that mindset, because every day we see stuff that's telling us this is getting closer and closer and closer and closer. I mean, stories coming out now about guys that on the East Coast that were arrested because they were planning a mass shooting event over the 4th of July weekend. People are snapping, guys. It ain't going to take long till we're living in what we've prepared for. It's Thursday. I'll probably see you again. Have a good one.